Imagine a king who held more than power. He held the soul of his people in a stool sent from the heavens. This is not a tale of fantasy. This is the legend of Osei Kofi Tutu.
African valor, strong and true. Every single thing they do.
In the misty forests of West Africa, a name rose like thunder. Osei Kofi Tutu. To the Ashanti, he was more than a king. He was destiny itself. A man who took scattered clans and forged an empire of gold and unity. This is his legend, where history meets myth, and a stool from the heavens bound a people forever. The Ashanti homeland was rich and fierce, rivers full of fish, forests full of life, and soil heavy with gold. But beauty alone did not guarantee peace. Powerful neighbors demanded tribute, clans clashed among themselves, and the people longed for something more. In this land of plenty and peril, the story of empire began. In Kumasi, in the late 1600s, a boy was born beneath signs of greatness. His name, Osei Kofi Tutu. Prophets whispered that he would one day lead his people. Wrapped in bright cloth, held in his mother's arms, he was no ordinary child. The Ashanti saw in him the seed of unity. From youth, Osei Tutu was shaped for greatness. He trained with warriors, learning to fight, to lead, to endure. But elders also filled his mind with wisdom, proverbs, rituals, and stories of ancestors. He learned that strength was nothing without unity. These lessons carved him into more than a warrior. They carved him into a leader. Before Osei Tutu, the Ashanti were proud, but divided. Each clan had its own chief, its own warriors, its own pride. United in culture, but not in power. The Denkyira demanded tribute in gold and captives, and the Ashanti bent under their rule. A people waiting for freedom, waiting for a leader. Osei Tutu's destiny sharpened when he met Okomfo Anokye, a mystic, healer, and seer. Together they dreamed of uniting the Ashanti. Anokye taught that true power lay not just in spears, but in spirit. With wisdom and prophecy beside him, Osei Tutu's path to greatness began. Osei Tutu and Anokye traveled clan to clan, speaking of unity. They warned that division was weakness, that together they could stand against Denkyira. Slowly, chiefs listened. Slowly, warriors believed. A spark of unity spread across the Ashanti land. In a sacred ceremony, Okomfo Anokye summoned a miracle. From the heavens, a golden stool descended, glowing, sacred, eternal. It did not land on the ground, but gently rested in Osei Tutu's lap. The people gasped. This was no ordinary king. This was the chosen one. Okomfo Anokye declared, "The golden stool held the soul of the Ashanti people. To harm it was to harm them all." Chiefs swore allegiance, not just to Osei Tutu, but to the unity the stool symbolized. A nation was born that day, a nation bound in spirit. With unity came strength. Osei Tutu forged a disciplined army, no longer divided by clans, but united as Ashanti. Drums thundered, warriors trained, gold adorned their shields. The Denkyira would no longer take tribute without resistance. When the Denkyira demanded tribute again, Osei Tutu refused. The chiefs stood with him. The Ashanti people cheered with courage. Rebellion had begun. For the first time, the Denkyira met defiance. The Denkyira marched to crush the Ashanti. But at Feyase, Osei Tutu and his warriors struck with fury. Spears clashed, drums thundered, arrows darkened the sky. By sunset, the Denkyira were shattered. The Ashanti were free. The victory at Feyase shook the land. The Ashanti were no longer subjects. They were conquerors. From this moment, Osei Tutu was not just a chief, but a king. The Golden Stool had birthed an empire. With unity secured, Osei Tutu led campaigns to expand the Ashanti. Villages joined willingly, others resisted and fell. The empire grew, its borders stretching wide, its power undeniable. At the heart of the empire rose Kumasi. Osei Tutu built it into a royal capital, markets bursting with gold, kente, and kola nuts, drums echoing day and night. From Kumasi, the empire pulsed with life. Osei Tutu knew war built power, but trade sustained it. Gold flowed from Ashanti lands, traded for salt, guns, and cloth. Envoys traveled across West Africa. The Ashanti became known not just for strength, but for wealth. The Golden Stool never touched the ground. It was placed on its own throne, guarded day and night. For the Ashanti, it was the soul of their nation. No king owned it. He only served it. And Osei Tutu ruled with its sacred power behind him. Though fierce in battle, Osei Tutu was wise in peace. He listened to elders, valued proverbs, and built councils of chiefs. He taught that a king's strength was not only in his sword, but in his ears. Okomfo Anokye bound the empire with spirit. He wove rituals, invoked ancestors, and reminded the people that their unity was sacred. The Ashanti were not just a kingdom, they were a family under heaven. Shamed by defeat, the Denkyira sought revenge. They raided Ashanti borders, but Osei Tutu's armies pushed them back again and again. The empire proved it was not a fragile flame, but a roaring fire. Osei Tutu established laws for his people. He set rules for trade, for land, for justice. Wrongdoers were punished. Disputes were settled by councils. The empire grew not just in strength, but in order. Osei Tutu united the Ashanti into a federation. Each chief kept authority over his people, but all swore loyalty to the stool. Together, they were stronger than ever, a new kind of African power. By the early 1700s, the Ashanti were unmatched. Their borders stretched far, their markets flourished, their warriors were feared. Osei Tutu stood at the height of his reign, a king among kings. He led with discipline, yet compassion. He was stern when needed, but never deaf to the cries of his people. He believed a king was not above his people, but among them. Even at the height of glory, enemies circled. The Akyem and others tested Ashanti strength. Osei Tutu led his armies again, proving the empire was ready for any storm. In 1717, Osei Tutu faced the Akyem in fierce battle. His warriors fought bravely, but fate had chosen its time. The great king fell, struck by an enemy bullet. The Ashanti wept, but his empire stood strong. Though the king was gone, the Golden Stool remained. The chiefs held firm. The people stood united. Osei Tutu had built something greater than himself, a nation that could endure. Osei Tutu's vision carried beyond his death. The Ashanti became one of Africa's greatest empires, feared, respected, and remembered. His unity endured through centuries of trials. His story teaches us this: true power is not in conquering others, but in uniting your own. Osei Tutu proved that unity can turn scattered sparks into a blazing fire. Centuries later, his name still echoes. Osei Kofi Tutu, the king who built an empire. His stool, his spirit, his story live on. To the Ashanti, he is not just a man of the past. He is a king forever. This has been the story of Osei Kofi Tutu, the king who built an empire from unity. His name still echoes across history. His stool still shines as the soul of a people. Thank you for watching African Valor. If this story inspired you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, so the world never forgets Africa's heroes. Stay strong, stay proud, stay with valor.